Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing extremely well. And today's video is going to be an updated version of something I did a few months back on creating a simple yet very effective ETF only portfolio. Now on this channel, we often review and take a look at a bunch of different ETFs. But I think it's important to every now and again make a video looking at how we can use these ETFs together in a simple and complementary way. So that's going to be the objective for today. So sit down, get comfortable, and if you guys enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Leave a like, subscribe, and let's get into this. Okay, so the number one thing is to set up objectives when you want to create a new portfolio. And to me, the number one most important thing, no matter what kind of investor you are, is the total return. Aside from some unique scenarios like risk aversion, the total return should be your primary focus. Now, with that said, I'm still an income investor. And what that means to me is out of the total return, I like to have a portion of it paid out to me in the form of cash dividend payments. So when creating a portfolio, that's the primary focus for me. And the other major criteria is to keep it simple and avoid overlap when possible. And lastly, as you can see in my portfolio, I invest in dedicated growth and income assets. And I do this to be diversified because I don't want there to be a situation in the future where there's another market rotation and all of a sudden you feel left out. Okay, so with all those parameters in place, the first thing I want to say is that my two favorite dedicated income assets, Divo and Jeppy, are actually not going to be included in this simple portfolio. And the reason for that is because I believe there's a better, more simple option that encapsulates both of these. And to me, that's xylg. So it's systematic, it follows an index, and it gives you both great total returns as well as high levels of income. In fact, if we take a look at the total return of xylg over the past 1 year, even with this big downturn, it appreciated over 17%. And the high level of monthly income really helps to add to the stability and compounding of this investment. Now, of course, I think Divo and Jeppy are great complements to xylg, but if I can only pick one, it would be xylg. And by the way, if you use M1 Finance like myself, xylg is not yet listed on the platform, but you could easily recreate it with VOO and XYLD split at 50-50 each. And right now that generates a dividend yield of over 5%. And a characteristic that I absolutely love about XYLG is how the income and price action work in tandem together. So when the market goes down in value and there's a ton more volatility, like we just saw over the past month, that actually allows the ETF to generate a higher level of income by selling call options. And if we look at the most recent payment for the past month, it's actually the highest one on record. So that's just another reason why I love this investment. And honestly, if you wanted to stop right there, you could, and this would be a fantastic portfolio. But you can see here, I created one more slice called growth. And if I click into it, it just has two ETFs, VUG and BST. So VUG is a Vanguard growth ETF. It's a broad market index focusing on more large cap companies. And long term, I think this investment would do pretty well and boost the overall price appreciation of the portfolio. And the second growth fund I have here is a smaller allocation, and it's very different. So I just made a dedicated video on this ETF, and I'll leave it linked at the top right. But essentially, this ETF invests in science and technology names, not unlike the ARK Innovation ETF. If you take a look at the holdings of each, they're actually pretty similar. And what that means, if we look at the price history, this ETF is extremely volatile. It goes through long periods of underperformance, and then it has some periods of exponential growth. And all that volatility is a lot to handle, so keep that in mind. And that's why the allocation is pretty low. But the thing that's special about this high growth, high risk ETF versus the ARK Innovation ETF is the fact that it has extremely high monthly dividends thanks to call options. So the way I view this ETF in this portfolio is that it gives you exposure to those high volatility, high growth names like PayPal, Square. It's extremely volatile, but if you stay invested in the long term, when it has these periods of immense growth, it makes up for the past underperformance. But the thing that's special about this ETF versus ARK and all the other names is the very high monthly dividend payment. So as you wait for these periods of high growth, you get to enjoy that monthly dividend. And trust me, in the long term, that's really going to do a lot to help you hold on to this fund during times of high volatility. So that's why I think BST is a great complement to a broad market growth ETF like VUG. It also follows the theme of having great total returns and paying out a great portion of that to you in the form of cash dividend payments. So that's the portfolio, only 4 ETFs and a combined dividend yield of over 4%. And since the end of 2018, this is the performance, and even with the most recent crash, it's still up 72%, and over the past 1 year, 7%, while driving that all-important cash flow. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of this portfolio. Is it too simple? Do you like it? And what would you change about it? I would love to see what you guys have to say in the comments. If you're still watching and enjoy, get the video like, subscribe, all that kind of YouTube stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one.